The Vrathan Empire had ruled the Outer Spiral for 3,000 years. Their warships moved like iron clouds across star systems, their diplomats spoke in ultimatums, and their philosophers had long ago concluded that mercy was the luxury of the weak. When humanity first approached the Galactic Council seeking membership, the Vrathan High Command watched with the detached amusement of a cat observing a mouse. Ambassador Elena Vasquez stood before the Council's crystalline amphitheater, her small delegation dwarfed by the towering representatives of 100 species. She spoke of cooperation, shared knowledge, and peaceful coexistence. The Vrathan Chancellor, his chitinous faceplates reflecting the chamber's ethereal light, interrupted her mid-sentence. "You speak of compassion," he clicked, his translator rendering the words with contempt. "Your species builds hospitals in war zones. You rescue the children of your enemies. You weep for creatures you've never met." His mandibles spread in what might have been a smile. "Such weakness is a quaint." The chamber erupted in chittering laughter. Even species that had suffered under Vrathan occupation joined in, desperate to avoid being associated with human naivety. Elena's jaw tightened, but she simply nodded. "We do weep," she said quietly, "and we remember." The Council denied humanity's petition. Worse, the Vrathan declared the Sol system a protectorate, demanding tribute and the right to strip mine Mars. They gave humanity one standard cycle to comply. The Vrathan expected resistance. They were prepared for war. Humanity's military was primitive but showed promise. What they didn't anticipate was silence. Humanity paid the tribute without protest. Mining operations began on Mars under Vrathan supervision. Chancellor Krethix reported to the High Command with satisfaction. "The humans have accepted their place. They lack the spine for defiance." But on the colony of New Siberia, a human mining crew discovered something peculiar. The Vrathan overseers were becoming ill. Nothing fatal, just persistent fatigue, confusion, disorientation. When human medics offered to help, the Vrathan refused. "We do not accept charity from livestock," the site commander sneered. 3 months later, the symptoms had spread to every Vrathan facility in human space. Still, they refused aid. Pride was the cornerstone of their empire. Dr. James Chen studied the medical scans with growing alarm. "It's not a disease," he told the Emergency Council. "It's cumulative exposure to something in our biosphere. The Vrathan physiology can't process certain trace elements in our atmospheric composition. Their immune systems are slowly collapsing." "Can we synthesize a treatment?" asked Admiral Kowalski. "Yes, we already have a prototype. But they won't accept it from us." The Admiral leaned back, her face unreadable. "Then we wait." The Vrathan didn't realize the danger until entire crews began dying. Panic spread through their ranks. They quarantined affected soldiers, pulled back from forward positions, and demanded the Council investigate this human bioweapon. Ambassador Vasquez appeared before the Council once more. "There is no weapon," she stated calmly. "Our worlds are simply incompatible with Vrathan biology. We discovered this 3 months ago and attempted to warn them. They refused to listen." "You have a cure," the Vrathan Chancellor accused, his voice box crackling with illness. "We do. Then provide it." "The Council demands." "The Council has no authority over us," Elena interrupted, her voice like ice. "You made that abundantly clear when you rejected our membership. We are not subject to Council law." The Vrathan Empire found itself in an impossible position. Their forces were dying. Their mining operations had ceased, and the cure existed just beyond their reach. For the first time in 3 millennia, they had to negotiate, not dictate. The terms humanity presented were simple: complete withdrawal from the Sol system, reparations for Mars, and an official apology before the Galactic Council. "This is extortion," Krethix hissed weakly. "No," Elena replied. "Extortion would be demanding your subjugation in exchange for the cure. We're not interested in building an empire, Chancellor. We never were. We simply want you to leave us alone and acknowledge what you did was wrong." The Vrathan had conquered worlds, shattered fleets, and built monuments from the bones of the defeated. But they had never learned to say they were sorry. The words caught in Krethix's throat like broken glass. "We miscalculated," he finally managed. "Not good enough." The standoff lasted 2 weeks. Each day more Vrathan died. Their high command fractured. Some advocated a kamikaze assault on Earth. Others suggested simply abandoning their forces. But as the death toll climbed into the tens of thousands, even the most hawkish generals recognized the reality. They had lost. Chancellor Krethix appeared before the council, his once imposing frame now hunched and trembling. The Vrathan Empire was wrong. We invaded human space unlawfully. We exploited their resources. We showed them disrespect. Each word was agony. We apologize. Elena Vasquez watched from the chamber's entrance. She felt no triumph, no satisfaction, just a deep, aching sadness for all the death that could have been avoided. The cure will be delivered within the hour, she said softly. And Chancellor, we don't want your territory. We don't want your subjugation. But if you ever threaten us again, remember this. Our compassion isn't weakness. It's a choice. And we can choose differently. The Vrathan evacuated human space within the month. Their empire didn't fall, not immediately. But the myth of their invincibility had been shattered, not by superior firepower, but by a species that weaponized the very thing the Vrathan had mocked. Years later, a young Vrathan officer asked his commander what humanity was truly like. The old soldier, who had been on Mars during the collapse, was quiet for a long moment. They're dangerous, he finally said. Not because they're cruel, because they have the capacity for cruelty and choose mercy instead. That choice? That's their real power, and it's more terrifying than any weapon we've ever faced. The officer didn't understand. Not yet. But he would if his people were ever foolish enough to challenge humanity again. Because the humans had taught the galaxy an uncomfortable truth. Compassion was not the absence of strength. It was strength under perfect control, and when that control was released, even empires burned.